The Crimean War, how it reshaped geopolitics. The Ottoman Empire is facing eradication. Tsar Nicholas I of Russia is moving in to give the final blow. But France and Britain intervene, thus beginning the Crimean War. The rivalry between Russia and the Turkic peoples goes back to the early Middle Ages when the Kievan Rus fought numerous conflicts with neighboring Khanates. The continuous fighting of Russians and Turks would shape the modern map of the Caucasus and Central Asia. As both peoples formed various states, their rivalry reached nearly a permanent state of war in the 18th century. The Ottoman Empire's expansion came to a brutal halt in the late 16th century. Meanwhile, Russia progressively swallowed large parts of Turkish territory. By the mid-19th century, the collapse of the Ottoman Empire became only a matter of time. Russia seemed to be all-powerful in Eastern and Southeastern Europe. By the 1850s, Tsar Nicholas I was aiming to give the killing blow to the Sultan. But the fall of the Ottomans by Russian hands would mean total dominion of St. Petersburg over the Eastern Mediterranean, which was unacceptable for most European powers. When Russia declared war on Constantinople, France and Great Britain took the side of the Sultan and intervened in what would be remembered as the Crimean War. This conflict would be the first major disruption of the Congress of Vienna established in 1815 and would change the geopolitical alliances on the European continent forever. The Ottoman Empire steadily weakened during the first half of the 19th century. The Serbian uprising of 1804 saw the emergence of the first autonomous Christian state in the Balkans since the 16th century. Defeat against Russia in 1812 led to significant territorial loss in Romania, and the Greek rebellion allowed the Kingdom of Greece to gain independence in 1829. Additionally, the Ottomans had to sign the Treaty of Adrianople with Russia, which allowed the latter free access to the Mediterranean through the Black Sea Straits. In North Africa, France successfully occupied the Beylik of Algiers, establishing the colony of Algeria. Moreover, Egypt, Tunisia, and Tripolitania became independent in all but name, establishing direct liaisons with European powers despite being nominally under Constantinople's rule. On the other side, Russia enjoyed unprecedented prestige in Europe. The Eastern Empire was considered one of the main powers that countered Napoleonic France, due notably to the decimation of French armies in the campaign of 1812. Additionally, the Tsar was a member of the Holy Alliance, which aimed to curb the revolutionary fever on the continent. Russian prestige was solidified during the springtime of the peoples in 1848 to 1849 when Tsar Nicholas I successfully stopped Austrian dissolution and defeated various nationalist factions in the Habsburg Empire. St. Petersburg barely hid its intention of expanding into the Ottoman lands. For France and Great Britain, such a prospect was considered extremely dangerous. London feared Russian expansion into British-held India. Meanwhile, France wanted to further develop its influence in Egypt. In addition, both nations desired to expand into the Middle East, which would become nearly impossible in case of Russian success. A clear collision course was set for a major conflict in the East that would be remembered as the Crimean War, which would reshape European geopolitics. Following the victory in the War for Greek independence in 1829, the Russian Empire established itself as the sole defender of Christians living in Ottoman territory. This claim was challenged by France in 1851, which was ruled by President and future Emperor Louis Napoleon Bonaparte. The latter tried to convince Sultan Abdülmecid I to give France the responsibility of protecting Christians. Following Constantinople's refusal, the French president ordered the deployment of the line ship Charlemagne to the Black Sea as a show of force in 1852. Finding himself under military pressure, the Sultan agreed to the French terms and broke the agreement made with Russia. Tsar Nicholas I ordered the mobilization of 2 military corps all along the Danube in Wallachia while entertaining talks with Constantinople. It was the beginning of a back-and-forth diplomatic joust. Russia demanded that Abdülmecid I allow St. Petersburg to establish a protectorate over the 12 million Christians living in his territory. At the same time, Russian diplomats courted Britain in the hopes of gaining their support or neutrality in case the talks failed. To that end, the Tsar's negotiators invoked the close links tying Russia to the Christians of Greece and the Middle East, who were in most cases Orthodox, and thus, closer to the Russian Church. London, however, chose the side of the Sultan, who then rejected the Russian demands in February 1853. Tsar Nicholas I ordered an invasion through the Danube while French and British navies mobilized their forces. Counting on the support of Austria, St. Petersburg confidently prepared itself for the Crimean War. Russia formally declared war on the Ottoman Empire on October 16, 1853.